Hi, everyone. I want to thank you for being able to stop by and listen to this short video. Um, and so let me explain. I just finished up with my doctorate, as a lot of people know, and finished my dissertation and defense and all of that. And now I want to share with you what I've done with my thesis is I've written a book, and I'll explain a little bit more about what the importance of this book is. Now, this is basically my thesis written into a book. It is available now on Barnes and Noble. It'll come out on September 1st, and it will, a couple months later, will come out in a paperback and then eventually a Kindle. It'll also come out that time also on Amazon, so it'll be there. But the point is this is a study in eschatology. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are not interested in deep theological discussions and eschatology and all of those kind of different things. And so this is primarily for those people who are obviously want to know things because there are basically several views out there: amill, post-mill, historist, idealism. There's there's quite a few different kind of views, but most common, of course, is dispensationalist that believes that the Christ and the rapture can come at any time. And so I was presented a few years ago with a preterist viewpoint. And let me explain just a little bit what preterism is. It's the idea and a belief based on time statements in Matthew 24 and different places through the Gospels that says that Jesus is to return in that generation. And Matthew 24, he does say that, all of this will come upon this generation, the destruction of Jerusalem and everything else. And then in 70 AD, of course, Jerusalem was destroyed uh, by Vespasian and the Roman armies. But was that the second coming? So full preterism, partial preterism, um, is based on the idea that a lot of the book of Revelation is completely fulfilled in 70 AD. All of it's mostly is done. All we're waiting for is maybe the rapture, second coming, and the judgment and those final things. And there's not going to be any beasts to look forward to in our future. But the worst part, of course, is full preterism that says that Jesus returned in 70 AD. The resurrection is all past. There's no judgment. We're supposed to be living in the new heavens and now. And you can just see such a statement is so totally false in many ways. But the issue is that online people are starting to listen to this. And I'm talking about pastors are supporting partial preterism, these different ideas and beliefs, and it's starting to slowly spread around. So if you're not haven't heard about it now, you will eventually hear about it. And what happens is online, where people do a lot of the discussions about eschatology, they're starting to ask questions, and then the full press will give you a big long story, challenge you, and say, well, how is it that he said it was going to happen in this generation? The Son of Man was going to come in the clouds in this generation. It didn't happen. Or you're saying it didn't happen, but Scripture says it did happen. So there's a lot of subtle arguments that are being made that are a twisting of the truth, because these so-called preachers and teachers and stuff are not really. I don't mean it in a bad way, but not educated. They're not paying attention, and so this book gives a arguments against that, of course, and then it deals with amillennialism, premillennialism, and dispensation. It gives you a background, an apologetic, I guess, against that. But it presents the case of a historical premillennialism. And that is the main heart and the focus of looking at eschatology all the way through the New Testament and understanding really what the last days are about. Um, in about 2016, I came out with a word, and I just passed it. I don't spread this thing. I don't pretend to be a prophet and do all of that. But I knew something was coming down in 2016, and we've seen the shakeup that's happened again now since then. And so people are wondering, are we in the last days? Is it about the end of the world? Is the rapture going to happen at any moment or any time or anything like that? and people have a lot of questions, and a lot of people are going to less than ideal resources to get their answers from that. And so I presented, and I've looked at, I've poured into the last 9 years of study into this topic. I've read just about every book there is. Listened to about just about every preacher on the subject and everything else. But instead of just trying to mimic or, you know, respond to everything everybody said, I went back to school to learn how to study it for myself. And that's what I've been doing for the last 9 years and finishing it up. And so that's what this book is about. So I am hoping that you can, if you've got questions about things you want to know, go to Barnes & Noble. You will find it here and ready for pre-order. And it will answer a lot of questions and give you arguments as to why certain things are not the way. And maybe the biggest thing I can say right now is everybody's looking for the rapture. And according to the Olivet, let me put it this way to you. Matthew 24, it says, Son of Man coming in clouds. This is type of a metaphorical language, like coming on the clouds has nothing to do with Acts 1, but it has to do with the Old Testament of judgment coming. And everything about Matthew 24 is about the judgment that was to come, and it did come in 70 AD, but it was not the second coming. The resurrection didn't take place. In fact, we're not even in the millennial kingdom like a lot of people teach. That is still future to us, as presented in the historical premillennialism. But then, as far as dispensationalism, they claim that all of the Olivet is to be fulfilled in the future, meaning the temple has to be rebuilt and sacrifices reinstituted and everything else. But in this book, I show you why, according to Zechariah 14:12, this kind of a paradigm is completely off. All of the Olivet was for the first century. That's what the early church fathers all taught. It was all back then, that everything about the beast and all this. Yes, it's still future, but we're not going to be raptured off beforehand and escape all of this. That is one of the most important things that we need to understand. And so, are the days going to be getting worse? Things are getting worse, and judgment will start to come. And we don't have a lot of detail. Excuse me. We just know that the church is not going to escape this, and we're going to be going through a lot of it, and a lot of persecution is ready to come our way, just as they did in that first century under all the persecution that happened under the Roman armies and things. We're facing a lot of things ourselves that are ready to come up. As Christians, we're public enemy number one. Number one? Yeah, number one. So I would appreciate it if you would take a look. Buy the book, pass it on, let people know that you know, and give me a review. Yeah, I need your support, basically. I'm not trying to make a lot of money from all this. I'm not. I'm just trying to get it out there and put something in their hands that people know that they can get answers of why so many people are wrong. Why, they're claiming, oh, Jesus is supposed to come back tomorrow, and the rapture, oh, tomorrow it can happen any day. There's just a lot of these misconceptions and things, and I'm hoping to help correct some of those things. So thank you guys for listening and putting up with me here for a few minutes, and I hope you'll get my book and take a look at it.